and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have no special guest. She's the author of the upcoming book, Start Your Second Act. No other than Miss Shannon Russell.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Shannon. And can you please introduce more about yourself?
Absolutely. So, I'm a former television producer turned business owner, and now I'm a career transition and business coach. So, I help people kind of transition from their 9 to 5 job into creating a business that gives them flexibility and freedom.
I like that one, Miss Shannon.
Mm.
And thank you so much for sharing your debut book to the world. And we are looking for more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So let's talk about inspiration and personal journey of Start Your Second Act. What inspired you to write this self-help book?
Well, Yeah, well, like I said, I transitioned myself. I had 16 years as a television producer working in LA and New York City. And then I decided once I had a family that I wanted to make a pivot and start something else. And it was a little scary at first trying to figure out what to do, but then I landed on entrepreneurship and really started producing my own life, and that kind of inspired me to get into my coaching business and then write Start Your Second Act to kind of inspire others to get unstuck and make that shift for themselves.
Certainly. So were there a defining moment in your life when you knew it was time to start your second act?
Good question. Yes, there was an exact moment. I can tell you I was 8 months pregnant in heels, running through the Times Square subway station in New York, trying to catch a bus home to the suburbs to pick up my little one from daycare. And it was just this stressful moment where I realized I just don't want to do this anymore. This hustle and bustle and long hours. And I realized I wanted to be a present mom and figure out what else I could do, and that I had accomplished my dream of working in television, and that was enough. And that was just my moment where everything kind of changed.
Certainly. I like the cover of your book.
Thank you.
I hope it will become a bestseller,
Ooh, let's
Miss
hope.
Shannon. I hope you will come back and let's talk about it once it was published. And how do you call that? How did your personal experiences shape the advice and strategy in the book?
That's a great question, too. You know what? It was really me figuring it out when I was home with my newborn and I had a 3-year old, and I was figuring out what I would do next. And I really took that moment to turn inwards and ask myself if I was happy, what I wanted to do. And I feel like so many of us just go through the motions every day, all of our days, just rushing, doing it all, and not really asking ourselves if we're happy and if we're where we want to be. And that led me to figuring out, okay, I'm going to look at my past experience and my skills and use that and figure out what else I can do. And that's where I leaped into entrepreneurship. And I want those tools and those lessons in the book to really help other people realize that they can try something else if they look at their skills and experience and see that it really can transfer to a second act.
So, Miss Shannon, what was the biggest challenge you faced in changing careers or launching a new venture?
I think it was the fear of the unknown, the fear of, how am I going to do this when my career identity is this, just making that shift. And then I realized that I was celebrating what I had accomplished and really taking that experience with me to kind of have another adventure, if you will, in my career. We get one life to live. So let's check all the boxes and do all of the things that we want to do. But that fear, I think, and that identity piece, and imposter syndrome, all of that really kind of kept me in my tracks for some time while I was making that transition. I think that's the biggest hurdle for people when they're trying to change careers and launch a business.
Certainly. Life is too short people and live to the fullest. So,
Mhm.
what do you say to people who feel too late to reinvent their lives?
Oh, it's never too late. It's never too late. And you know what? You can just allow yourself the grace to at least indulge yourself and research what it is you're thinking about. So if you're thinking about writing a book or opening a business, then give yourself 15 minutes once a week to research what you're thinking about. And maybe you'll research it and realize, oh, that's not really for me anyway. And you can check it off the list and then you'll know. But by never really allowing yourself to venture into that idea or that dream or that goal, you'll have regrets at the end of the day that you never, looked into it and gave it a chance.
Beautifully articulated, Miss Shannon. Very well said. I think KFC was established when he was 65 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So, people, it's not too late.
Oh, not at all. There's so many examples like that. Yeah, that's a great one.
So, let's talk about the guidance and strategy of the book. What is the first step someone should take when considering a major life or career change?
Well, I say it's turning inward. It's asking yourself if you're not happy, what will make you happy? Writing down your skills and figuring out just the idea that, sometimes we get so into what we do on the day to day that we think, oh, it's everyone can do this. But it's not really true. I think, we all have unique skills and experiences that we can take with us into our second act. So to look at those skills and then, like I said, do that research and researching those ideas that you're pondering in your head and then start researching, learning more, listen to podcasts, read the books about that industry or that field you're thinking about, have conversations with people who are already in that field. And then you'll get that confidence and then you can start pursuing it further. But it's something that I think doesn't have to be I quit my job tomorrow and this is what I'm going to do. You can plan ahead and do it in a strategic way where you don't disrupt your whole life, where you just do it really methodically and that helps your confidence as well.
Totally agree, Miss Shannon. So, how
Mhm.
does the book help readers identify their true passion or purpose?
Well, I give a lot of examples. I give my career transition story in full and a lot of other success stories of my clients, other people, even celebrities who have made those shifts to kind of have the reader say, "Ooh, if that person can do it, I can do it." And then I go through my what I call my second act strategy, which is a three-step strategy that I use with my clients. I really dive into that in the book. And then at the end of each chapter, there are action steps and questions and it's kind of workbook style at the end of each chapter where you can really take your ideas and start working towards that next act and working towards that goal. So I hope it really is used as a tool and a resource for people to give themselves permission to dabble into this idea that they've been pondering.
Certainly. So, what are the common fears people face in starting over, and how can they overcome them?
I think it's that fear of the unknown, the fear of what others will think is a big one.
Yes.
Especially if you've had a career since you were 20 and now you're in midlife, you're worried about what other people will think. And I was just having a conversation earlier about a man who was a big wig in the tech space and he wanted to open up a coffee shop.
Yes.
And he was afraid to tell people that that's what he was doing because he didn't want their judgment or their opinions because he knew what he wanted to do. And I think that is the best way to approach it is to keep your ideas close to your chest while you're doing that evaluation and that research and you're working towards it. And when you're 1,000% confident, then you can start telling the world. And, they'll see your confidence and they'll rally right alongside you, hopefully.
Yes, people don't care or what people say about you.
Mm-mm, you really
Let
shouldn't.
it go.
Yes,
Let
yes.
it go. So, how do you recommend readers balance financial reality with their following their dreams?
Yeah, that's a big one that and then one that I think none of us want to face, right? Nobody wants to look at the bank account, but I
True.
think it's the most important thing. I think to really at least in as far as making our timeline. So if you know you want to quit your job and you want to start a business, or you want to quit your job and write a book, or switch career fields, looking at your finances will allow you to truly understand how much time you have. So maybe you'll realize by looking, giving it an honest oversight, you might be able to say, "Oh, I have to work 6 more months to feel really comfortable and to save that extra money." Or maybe it's a year, but you want to be really real with yourself, because especially when you're starting a second act, you might not be really seeing that income coming into your bank account for a year, 18 months or so. So you want to have that cushion. I think that's really important. Again, for that confidence piece. If you know that you're confident and you've got that emergency fund saved up, then you're going to be that much more energetic to make it happen. Don't you think?
Totally agree, Miss Shannon. So,
Mhm.
what tools or resources do you suggest for someone looking to start a business midlife?
Yeah, I think do that research. There's so many great podcasts out there to listen to, books to read. I really suggest talking to other people who are in that industry as well. And you can go on LinkedIn and really look in your own network and find someone who maybe has a business like the one you're thinking about. And ask them if you can have a conversation about what the day to day is really like. And even if there's another business that you just find online, you can do your research. You can do the research on their pricing, their products, what their reviews are on Google or Yelp, and learn more about what the customers are saying. And then you can kind of take all of that information along with your past experience and skills and what you bring to the table, and form that plan, that business plan, if you will, of what your business will look like. And then you start putting the little pieces together, slowly but surely. And then it all, unfolds as it should.
Baby step, baby.
Yeah,
Baby step.
exactly. I agree.
So let's talk about the mindset and motivation. What or how important is mindset when beginning a second act, and how can someone shift theirs?
I love that question. Mindset is all of it. I think that is such a huge piece. And it goes back to what we discussed a little earlier about, kind of not grieving that career that you're leaving, but celebrating it and being proud of yourself for accomplishing whatever it was that you did in your first act. And then shifting it where you can say, wow, I'm so proud of myself. I'm going to take all of that experience with me, and it's going to add on to my life resume. And I'm going to use that to build my business. And I oftentimes say to clients to think about a career story. So, what have you done in the past that is really going to make your business take off? What's that story you're going to tell about why you chose this business and why you're the right one to make it excel? And I think when you start thinking about that, you start thinking about, you know, I can do this and I feel confident, then it just starts to move. And you start, as we said, the baby steps, and then you see, okay, I accomplished this. I want to accomplish more. And you just start rolling forward. And your mind is now in this new frame of thinking. You're now an entrepreneur, and you can just keep going from there. But you just have to appreciate and accept where you came from to be able to move forward in this new role.
Yes. And don't afraid to commit mistake, people, because you will learn from it for sure. But make sure
Yes.
you will learn from it.
Yes.
Not only mistake, but mistake and repeating mistake. You need to learn from it. So,
Yeah.
what role does self-doubt play in holding people back? And how do you silence that inner critic?
I think self-doubt is always there, no matter what stage of your career you're at, right? And
Yes.
and I think, we're always going to have it, but that's where I think if you're feeling that and you're starting to feel, "Okay, maybe I should just go back to what I did." You know what? Give yourself that grace to shut the laptop, walk away, take a deep breath, and realize that this is an adventure. You are trying something new. It's not going to be perfect all the time. You're learning, as you said, there's challenges, but you no one is going to believe in you but you. So appreciate that self-doubt and understand where it's coming from, but just let yourself make those mistakes, as you said, let yourself learn from it, and just say that you're giving this a shot. And if you really feel like it's not going the way that you want, then give yourself a timeline to maybe work for another 6 months at this. And if you really don't feel like you can hack it at the end, then you can always go back to where you were, but you'll never regret trying.
Certainly believe in yourself, people.
Mhm.
Don't belittle yourself.
No,
Always
no.
saying, I'm the head, not the tail. I'm a victor, not a victim.
I
You
love
always
that.
say that. Yes, you will say that every day to your life. For sure, you
Mhm.
will be empowered. So, Miss Shannon, what advice do you have for people who feel stuck in a stable but for unfulfilling career?
I mean, there's no sense in staying stuck um, for the next 20, 30, 40 years. I've had clients say to me, "Well, doesn't everyone hate their job? Shouldn't I just suck it up and wait until this perfect moment? Wait till the kids are out of the house. Wait till this, wait till that." And I just say that if you are dreading every day and you have a toxic work environment, whatever it is, you deserve to explore what something else would look like. You deserve to be happy in this one life that you live. There's no guarantee that we have tomorrow. So take control today and just know that you deserve to feel like you are feeling fulfilled and you're contributing and you're feeling passionate about what your work is. And it's not easy. It's not an easy transition, but if you really want to make your life better and more meaningful, there's ways to do it very strategically, as we mentioned, to get there in a way that doesn't wreak havoc and cause chaos. You can do it in a way that you'll find that success, but please don't stay stuck.
Yes. Very well said, Miss Shannon. Very
Daniel.
well said. And thank you for your advice. So, what will be your short term and long term goals in writing?
Oh, I loved this experience of writing this first book. Absolutely loved it. I find that writing is my hobby and I enjoy it so much. But next, I want to write fiction.
Oh,
So I've wanted
nice.
to write fiction for a while, but I figured, you know what? I'm going to write this because it can help people and it's, based on my business. But I think next it's going to be fiction.
Looking forward for that, Miss Shannon. And
Thanks.
please do come back over on Book 101 Review and let's talk about it.
I would love to.
So let's talk about the success and reinvention of the book. What does success look like in a second act and how might it differ from traditional definitions?
You know what? I think success is whatever you think it is. It really is individual because I want to get away from what we think society thinks is successful, right? It's
True.
more about you individually on your path and your journey. So for me, I had a dream since I was a little girl to work in TV. I was able to do that. Then I wanted to be a present mom and I worked towards that. So I think it's exciting when you put a new goal to strive for success in that goal. It keeps us alive, it keeps us moving and challenging ourselves in personal growth. But success is very personal and individual. So I think if you um, it might be, moving into the middle of the woods and being really alone with nature and reading every day. Whatever your goal is that makes you happy and excited to wake up and pursue your day, I think is success. So, yeah.
Certainly. Very well said again, Miss Shannon. So, can you share a favorite success story from a reader or a client who embraced their second act?
Yeah, I'd love to share one that is about someone who started later in life too. So I have a client who came to me when she just turned 60. She had just gotten divorced and she had helped her husband, her ex-husband, build his business for years and years. And she never really had anything of her own. She had recovered or survived cancer. She had a lot of different health issues. And so she was taking nutrition classes and learning how to bake gluten-free, sugar-free, vegan, all of the things, and she wanted to bake and sell her cakes, and we started working towards that, and she started selling them to friends and people in her town. But then she was able to start and really grow her business selling to restaurants, and the restaurants were buying her cakes and selling them to their customers. And I think she really found her footing at 60, really just doing what was important to her, helping others. And it was her thing, as her second act began. So I think that is a great story and shows that it doesn't have to happen in your 30s or 40s. It can happen anytime.
Certainly. It's not too late, people. If you
Nope.
want to be a writer, go, go, go. If you want to be a podcast host, go for it. We're
Exactly.
encouraging you. Stop procrastinating. If you
Yes.
have the talent, show to the world. So, how do you suggest measuring progress when creating a new business or lifestyle?
Yeah, I think it's always great to have that timeline, like whether it's 6 months or a year of what your goals are. But know that that timeline, that calendar, that schedule is always flexible. I always think your progress can be shifted because there's things in life that come up. So if you even have a 6 month or a 1 year kind of progress timeline, you can mark down what you want to achieve each month and kind of reverse engineer it. And then I always suggest that at the end of each month, beginning of the next, you look back at the past month and you see what you've accomplished. And then anything you haven't hit yet, you can move to the next month. But take your time, know that it's steps, and just as long as you're moving the needle on your progress, I think you're succeeding in that way. And it can always be reformatted and changed around if need be.
Yes, enjoy the moment, people. Don't
Exactly.
hurry up. Enjoy the moment, baby steps. So,
Mhm.
what are the some signs that someone is truly ready to take the leap?
I think if they've done their research and they really know, they've looked at maybe 5 ideas, however many ideas are swirling in their head, and they've looked at them and they've examined, okay, and they've made that list down to 1, they are ready to go. I always say learn before you leap. And so if you've
Yes.
learned all about it, right, you can feel that confidence again and you can start taking that first step. And I think it's important to say too that you can start building a business or making a change, writing a book, starting a podcast, whatever it is, while you're working. You can do little things like starting to write, making your LLC, working on a website, getting your business bank account, little things that you can do while you have your day job. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing, I quit and start. You can start slow and small, and you'll start seeing those little action steps ticking off and that success starting.
Again, Miss Shannon. Beautifully articulated. So before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, Food 101, in its fifth season, People Fifth Season, with Chef Alessandro, one of his specialty chef in one of five-star hotel in downtown Toronto. Please do listen to our latest episode. We are reading our letter senders all over the world. So please do listen, Food 101, wherever you listen your podcast. So, Miss Shannon, if there's one message you want readers to take away from the start your second act, what is it?
Give yourself grace and start slow. Do one thing today. Write down one idea that you've been thinking about and start working towards it. Do 5 minutes of research and keep going. Maybe it's 5 more minutes this weekend, 5 more minutes next week. But write down one goal or one dream you have right now and start diving into it.
Yes, and stop procrastinating. Do it, do it, do it now.
Yeah.
Miss Shannon Russell, thank you so much for sharing. Start your second act. This upcoming book, when you will publish or available.
Yep, it'll be available May 7th everywhere, and the pre orders are out now.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Shannon Russell, because if you support her, more and more and more empowering books like this to come. So,
Mhm.
Miss Shannon, last word for my listeners.
Daniel, thank you so much. I think all of your listeners, you can do it. You do not have to stay stuck. So take the time. Life is short. Make your move and start your second act.
More to come, people. See you soon.